All right, so we're back. This is actually the final last video in this lecture series on an introduction to project management. This is chapter 12, project completion, and we are talking about the final project report, the final project report and what it needs to include. So of course it makes sense to include a project summary. Now, realize that this can be a detailed summary, and just like in the project plan, we want an executive overview of everything that's in the plan. So an executive can read half page to a page and understand what's in that 30 or 40 page document that follows, okay? So again, bringing over the project description, analyzing the project MOV, were we able to match that, okay? Scope, schedule, budget, quality objectives. Did we meet those? What was the scope? What was the schedule? Where did we stay on schedule? Where did we fall off schedule? Why did we fall off schedule? Remember, we always want to be asking those questions: the who, the what, the where, the when, the how, and of course the why. And then comparison of planned versus actual. Okay, so how did we do? How did our plan compare to how we actually worked on and delivered the project? Now, on the right side here, what I would suggest is just pausing this, reading through this. There's a little bit more detail on suggested things to include in a final project report. So let's move on. Again, make sure you pause on that last slide. Final meeting presentation. So I like this. If no one has any questions, we can finally put this project to rest. There's always that one person that's like, okay, yeah, actually, I do have a question. So, but again, remember, we've got to answer all the questions, and the project only comes to fruition or closure when the stakeholders accept the project as complete. Now, remember, this doesn't mean we have to meet 100% of everything that was in that documentation. We can learn from successes just as well as failures. So, communicates that the project is over, formally transfers the product or the system or the service, right, from the project team to the sponsor or stakeholders. We acknowledge all the contributions. We get a formal sign-off, literally a formal sign-off. That's usually when we get paid, right, or, the final check, whatever payment method that, like we talked about previously, how we ended up getting paid. And then, of course, let's not forget the ultimate celebration, that huge celebration of we accomplished a huge project. Remember, like I said previously in the first video, with failure rates, any project that completes is successful. So closing the project, verifying that all deliverables and open items are complete, verifying the project sponsor and customers accept what we've done, organizing and archiving all project deliverables and documentation, again, so that other projects can go back and look at that. A lot of times when we create IT systems, we're constantly working on them. Some even say that 80% of coding work that's done on an IT system, 80% of all coding work is done in the maintenance phase, in finding bugs, securing bugs, fixing things, doing improvements, doing updates versus upgrades, etc. Okay? So, planning for the release of all project resources, basically turning all that over, planning for the evaluation and reviews, again, audits of the original project plan to what we delivered, analyzing project team members, were they contributory? Remember that if a team member left mid-project, we also want to make sure to do an analysis of them, because they might be coming back to the organization and working on another team. So do we want them on another team? What is their assets for another team? What are their deficits on another team? So, and that includes everybody that was part of the team. By the way, I also like to do, as a consultant, I would also used to do, I had a mentor who said, analyze your customers. So we would go back and analyze our customers. We would analyze how well they gave us information, how well they cooperated. Were we waiting for stuff constantly, which meant we were losing money because we didn't have the information or the deliverables or the data to move forward? How well did they pay us? And then we would grade customers. And frankly, if you fell, out of an A and B category, we probably didn't work with you again. unless we were desperate to find some income, okay? Because when you start working with C, D, and F clients, I guarantee they're wasting a lot more time and money than the value you're providing them, and that's a huge risk. So planning a celebration to mark the end of the project, we talked about that. Make sure you celebrate. We've celebrated throughout. We've talked about that. When we talk about the individual performance review, we definitely want to have a standardized review system that we're going to review each and every person. Now, this review process can be the entire team doing confidential reviews of other team members that they've worked directly with. Okay, so if a team member hasn't worked with say a programming consultant out of India, they don't get to analyze that person or that portion of the team members, right? So, that should make sense to you. But again, standardize something that we're going to use. It can be something as simple as this, quality of work, quantity of work, initiative, adaptability, cooperation, dependability, communication, supervisions, skills. Did they meet their timelines? Did they meet deliverables? What was the quality of the work they delivered? So other things. And also an opportunity to take into consideration what might have happened in personal life. Was there a death in the family? Was the person sick? Whatever the case may be. So postmortem review. So review the initial project's MOV. So in that process of closing and documenting, these are the things we're going to do. Again, we've talked about this. Look at the scope. How did we do? Look at the schedule. How did we do? Look at the budget. How did we do? Look at the quality objectives. How did we do? Now, again, a lot of this stuff is not just an analysis from the team, but analysis from your customer or stakeholders as to how you did. And even going back to consultants that you used on the project and say, hey, how did we do? How did we make your experience as a consultant? What could we do better in the future with consultants? If that makes sense. So again, remembering the consultants are reviewing you. Review the various project plans, management of body of knowledge areas, etc. Review the project team performance. When you do the audit on the project, have no direct involvement in or interest in the project, so we need to find an auditor of some sort. We may even consult someone who specializes in coming in and doing audits. Somebody respected, viewed as impartial and fair, willing to listen to what they have to say and willing to listen as an auditor. Present no fear or recrimination from special interests, because again, they don't have skin in the game, right? So the project manager had skin in the game. They just spent a year, 6 months, maybe only a month working on this project. So they were committed to it. So they can't really, take off the rose-colored glasses to do an honest audit, right? So they would look at all these things. They would look at historical data. They would audit and make sure it's done. When we talk about auditing quality, auditing a project, a lot of the project management software will produce reports for you, because if you've gone in throughout the project and you've said, here's the project timeline, here's how we expected it to go, it was right here, how did we do? Well, it looks like we stayed pretty close. Well, that was great. How was the quality? How were the people? Did they deliver on time? So, if we've assigned a person or a subset of the team to a portion of the project, did they deliver on time? If we're putting all that information as to when things are complete, when milestones are complete, we can get some great reports that, again, are data-driven and fact-driven, if the honest information was put into the system, that we can't fudge and shouldn't fudge. So, what was done right? What was done wrong? We need to look at all of it, and we need to have that completion of the project. So folks, that's it. You've completed the project. I hope that this lecture series, this class, if you're in my class, has helped you. If you're in my class, the project team assignment has helped you understand that in technology today, we do not work as a single technology individual. We will work with consultants if we are the only IT person in an organization. We will work with people in the organization. We need to be able to communicate. We need to be able to manage risk, communicate well, deal with controversy, deal with conflict, do all of these things that make a project manager and a great project succeed. I hope this video series was valuable, and I hope that you have a great day and a great career in project management. Take care.